Right. It's been a little while since I've made a segment here, but better late than never, right? Nothing too crazy has happened. Nothing nothing really of note, but there's always something to talk about. In fact, there has been quite a few things of note. Eagles ever since the Super Bowl win. Crazy to think that it's going on 2 months now since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But like a lot of other fans, I'm still living off of it. I'm going to be living off of it. I mean, eventually, at some point, I will have to move on. And Eagles fans as a whole will have to move on um, from the Super Bowl in terms of getting ready for the next season. But this Super Bowl, this team that we have, the team that we had in 2024, and the season that we had, for how everything played out and how it how it all ended and the kind of things that we were the kind of supplementary things that they were able to accomplish. It's been awesome. So I'm still living off the Super Bowl. I'm going to be living off that for at least a couple more months until you know training camp uh, is around the corner. But excuse me, there have been a lot of changes to the Eagles, to the Eagles organization. A lot of when I say changes, I mean that there were quite a few notable productions from our team. A lot of guys who won't be there, who were there in 2024, that won't be there next year. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on this segment talking about some of those losses, um, because there were quite a few, and they weren't they weren't the majority of them weren't household names. I mean, they're well known within the Eagles locker room, um, but they weren't, you know, huge names like they weren't like superstars or anything like that. But they're still notable losses, and um, we're gonna miss them. I mean, I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna just say it right now before I even get into it. We're gonna miss them. And one guy, well, I'll start from the list here. Um, the first, obviously, was our marquee, was one of our marquee players, and that was Milton Williams. We lost him to the Patriots. And before I get into this, um, I'm of the mindset, I don't know how many other people feel like this, but I'm of the mindset where if a guy can get his money, then he should by all means get it. I would have loved to have everyone come back as we try to run this thing back in 2025. I would love to have everybody that departed in free agency come back, but it's just not possible, especially with the salary cap. It's just not humanly possible to have everybody come back. Guys play 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 themselves into new contracts. They earn it. They earn it. And I'm all for guys going out and getting their money. The thing about sports and football in particular is that you're probably only guaranteed at the most, at the absolute most, you're probably only guaranteed about three contracts in your life, in your career, I should say. You're probably only guaranteed about three contracts. Your rookie contract, all right, your rookie contract was usually in the neighborhood of about 4 years. So let's say you're 22 years old. You get a rookie contract by the time you're by the time you're about 26, 27 years old, you're eligible for another contract. All right. You get that. So that's two contracts right there. And then maybe if you um, you know, play yourself into um earn it. If you become, a star or a superstar, you might get another contract by the time you're 31 or 32. That's if you're a superstar. That's if you play yourself into a new contract. That's a tall that's a tall task because not many people are superstars in the NFL. So at the most, I say you're probably guaranteed about three contracts in your entire NFL career. Excuse me, I'm gonna try and do something here. Bear with me 1 second. You on? Okay. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Had to do something with my mic there. But yeah, so the amount of contracts that you get is anything but guaranteed. And so if you're in a position to be able to get it, you know, by all means, go for it. Go for it. Especially with how fleeting an NFL career can be, and how I'm just going to say it, how shady some business dealings in the NFL can be. You can cash in, get yourself some guaranteed money, set yourself up, set your family up for life after football. By all means, go and get it. I wish you nothing but the best. Salute, especially if you're coming off of the Super Bowl. You're a part of the um, sports fabric in Philadelphia forever. So I just want to put that out there, guys. Go get your bread. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of your mentals. Like the great Marshawn Lynch once say, take care of your body, take care of your family, take care of your mental, take care of all that good stuff. So we have lost quite a few guys in free agency. Getting back to it, the marquee guy um, that was being talked about was Milton Williams, defensive tackle. He left to go to the Patriots. Obviously, Milton Williams, he played himself into new contract. He earned it. He was fantastic in the Super Bowl. Probably could have been MVP um, had it not been for Jalen Hurts. I thought he had a strong case, um, but nevertheless, Milton Williams got his. He's in, he's been with us for 4 years. I think we drafted him in 21. He has steadily grown into a force for the Eagles. He was never really a starter. Um, he was our third. He was behind Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the depth chart, but by no means was he a um, a situational player. Milton Williams, he was a force for us, and it was so nice to be able to watch him mature into the player that he became from when he got drafted um, to this year. So Milton Williams is a player that we'll definitely miss. Um, I didn't think that we'd be able to keep him. A lot of the guys that walked in free agency, it was on the heels of us re-signing Zach Bond. And again, just like I said, there's only so much money that you have to play with. There's only so much money that you can use to sign, and a lot of it was used on our offense, and you just can't keep everybody. So we'll miss Milton Williams. I miss him, but I know he's going to do good things in New England. He's got a chance to really carve out carve out a niche for himself up there. Wish him nothing but um and again, this I'm not going to talk so much on this segment about how we're going to replace them. I'm just going to talk about the guys that we lost, most of our guys, and you know uh my thoughts on it and how whether or not I think we'll be able to recover from losing them as easily one would hope. The other guy, Josh Sweat, Josh Sweat, another guy. He and Milton Williams, those two guys took turns, um, getting after Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. Both of them had a strong, strong case for Super Bowl MVP. And they both played themselves into new contracts. Josh Williams or Josh Sweat, excuse me, um, is another one. He's going to Arizona. They're getting a great player. Josh Sweat, he was the one player that I wasn't. Again, I want to be very careful with my words. It's not that we didn't need Josh Sweat or we didn't want Josh Sweat, but he was because he was such a um he was so streaky as a defensive end. I thought that he was the guy that would least that the Eagles would least be affected should we lose him in free agency. That's not a knock on him. That's not saying that I think he's expendable or anything like that. That's just my thought of the guys that were scheduled to hit free agency on our team. He was one that you know we could we could deal with the best, if I can put it that way. So, but yeah, Josh Sweat, I think he got a 4 year deal worth like 75 million or something like that. Uh, it's 4 years, 76 million. Um, yeah, man, 41 mil guaranteed. Go for it, man. Go for it. He's 28. With 28 this year, this is probably the only big payday that he'll get in his career. Look, man, most folks out there won't even see they won't even sniff 4 million, let alone 40 million. If you can do that, do it, man. Do it. Mm, sorry. Think of Coca-Cola. So yeah, Josh Sweat, we'll miss him for sure. He's another one that was whose career was born and raised in Midnight Green. Um, he's been here. I think he got here in like 2018 or 2019. He's been with us for a while, and um, he was raised around the Eagles organization. But more power to you. Go out, spread your wings, and go out and be great in the desert. Um, Darius Slay, big play Slay, going to going to Pittsburgh, and Darius Slay, he's been great for us, man. He uh he had his rough patches for sure. He had his rough patches, but who doesn't? What great player doesn't? Um, the things ended just kind of really weird here the last couple of weeks before he signed with Pittsburgh. Darius Slay, he's I, I love Darius Slay, but man, he was just like talking crazy these last couple of weeks. It's like, bro, what? what are you talking about? What is your aim? What are you trying to do, man? Like why are you being weird? Like I didn't understand why he was saying some of the things that he said about the Eagles on his way out. I don't think he was trashing the Eagles, but it's like, dude, you won a Super Bowl here. You're clearly loved by the fans. Why are you, you know, why are you leaving streets on your way out of town? Like you just sound stupid, and you make people just look at you like what? Like Westbrook, like, bro, what are you talking about, man? But I mean, that's just kind of who he is. That's his personality. You know, it is what it is. He's a part of Eagles too. He's been here. He's been great for us the last 5 years. Um, yeah, I wish him the best. That contract that he got in Pittsburgh is a 1 year for 10 million. This is probably going to be Darius Slay's last year in Pittsburgh, or his last year in the NFL, and it will be in Pittsburgh. And he'll be 35 New Year's. You know that's probably um this is probably it for him. So I wish him the best. I don't think that we play Pittsburgh this year. I'll still be rooting for Darius Slay. I still want to see him do well. Only time we can play Pittsburgh is if we meet in the Super Bowl, and obviously that will be a different scenario. I don't know how many people have Steelers and Eagles as their Super Bowl pick for Super Bowl 60. You never know. But yeah, Darius Slay. I think that we're good. We're well equipped to handle that. And again, I'm not going to talk about who I think can take their place. I'll do that at another time, on another segment. But um, yeah, Darius Slay, he's a guy that we'll miss as a locker room voice, one of the as one of the elder statesmen in the locker room. And then we have a couple of role players, supplemental guys here. Um, oh, first off, before I do that, Chauncey Gardner Johnson, PJGJ. I'm not gonna lie, man. That one threw me. I did not see that coming. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I didn't see us losing Chauncey Gardner Johnson, not even to free agency, but we traded him, and that was rumored to be why we didn't bring back Darius Slay, or why because Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner Johnson, even though they were teammates, they couldn't coexist in the same locker. It was some silly Twitter beef or something that Darius Slay said again, and talking on a weird vibe. Um, Gardner Johnson, it was just some kind of back and forth. So I thought that Chauncey Gardner Johnson would be here, or that after we traded him, Darius Slay will come back. But now we don't get either of them back. It's like, man, what's going on? So yeah, that one threw me for a loop. And I'm Chauncey Gardner Johnson is probably one of the guys that I'll miss the most. Not just because he's a good football player. He's an emotional leader. Um, and he's an irritant. He's one of those guys that really gets under your skin. I've seen players swing on Chauncey Gardner Johnson. I've seen him, and but he's one of those guys that relishes that kind of spotlight, that relishes that kind of attention. he's one. He brings all the attention on himself, but he can back it up too. He's not afraid to um to walk the walk. He stands on business. He stands on business, and that's what we love about him, and that's what we'll miss in the locker room. His presence, his 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 fiery disposition, his willingness to try and get in other players' heads or get under other players' skin. That's that's what I'll miss the most. But I think we can, I don't know if we can replace it, but you know, there are somebody's going to have to step up. Maybe not necessarily be an irritant, but somebody's going to have to be that vocal guy. He's a funny dude, man. I'm going to miss him, and it's crazy that he's here for the Eagles in two separate occasions, 1 year, and both years we go to the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, you know, Chauncey Gardner Johnson being on the Eagles means good things happen for us. Um, yeah. Um, you know, other guys that we lost, Isaiah Rogers. You know, I'll miss him. He was a good role player. He played well for us. Um, but I mean, you know, his contract in Minnesota was two years for 15 million. Um, uh, I don't know. Could the Eagles have offered him that? Maybe, maybe he wanted to go and test his wares somewhere else. Again, I'm not about to tell someone what they should or shouldn't do or how I feel about them doing what's best for them. If he wanted to go in Minnesota, you know, go do you. I mean, I love you again. All these guys, I love all of them because they're a part of Philadelphia sports history. They're a part of a championship history here in the city. So I don't begrudge any of them. I don't harbor resentment towards any of them. You know, they're all good in my book. Isaiah Rogers going to Minnesota. You know, wish you the best. I think that we'll be okay replacing him. Oren Burks filled in very, very nicely for Nakobe Dean after he tore his patella tendon in the playoffs. Oren Burks was um, great, a great fill in. He's going to Cincinnati. Um, I don't know if Nakobe Dean will be back in time for the start of the season. My guess right now is that he probably won't be. Patella tendons, they're I'd say they're about maybe like an 8 month recovery, and he tore it in the beginning of January, so I don't know if he'll be back in time. But we'll see. But Oren Burks, you know, he did a really nice job for us. And the defense didn't seem to lose a step too much, but he's going to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati could use him. Cincinnati's defense was awful last year; they were just downright dreadful, and um, you know he can be a guy that's very useful for them. Maybe he can help their defense, but that's a problem for Cincinnati. Orenbergs, go west, young man, and prosper. Um, let's see what else here. Uh, a couple of Kennys. Kenny Pickett fill in. Kenny Pickett played in the NFC Championship, played in the Super Bowl before Dak Prescott. Just want to put that out there. Um, he he's going back to the AFC North to the Browns to compete for a starting quarterback job. Wish you the best. You're a part of this too. You're a part of this thing too. Uh, we'll never forget that unbelievable pass that he had in Week 17 against the Cowboys. You know which one I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. Kenny Pickett throw against the Dallas Cowboys. Um, but yeah, Kenny Pickett, and then Kenny Gainwell, our little Mighty Mouse, who's been with us for several years. He's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. He was a really, really good complimentary piece for us for a while. He was a nice compliment to Miles Sanders when he was here, and now this past year he was a nice compliment to Saquon. Kenny Gainwell, good player, love him, enjoyed watching him play. Um, Whether or not he gets heavy minutes in Pittsburgh, that remains to be seen. I think that Pittsburgh will probably draft a running back. Kenny Gainwell doesn't really strike me as a bell cow kind of guy, but you never know. This could be the opportunity that he needs to see just how much he is actually capable of. So we'll see. But Kenny Gainwell, I'll miss him. A lot of these guys, they've been on the team. I'll miss them as much for um their name and as much for sentimental reasons as I will for their play. Just because I've been hearing their names for the past 4, 5, 6 years, um, that's why I'll miss them. That's a big part of why I'll miss them. Um, who else? I feel like I'm missing some people. Um, I'm sure I am. I'm sure I am. Let's see. Oh, Makai Becton. Um, Man, talk about an overnight an overnight reclamation project. Makai Becton, they're trying to run this guy out the league, man. We're trying to run this guy out the league, and he comes to the Eagles, and it seems like just overnight we see just how good he is, and we see him live up to. Um, Man, he's huge, 6'7", 363. Good lord. We see just how what he was capable of. Comes to the Eagles and has really a great year. Played 88% of the snaps, filled in at the guard spot, only one hold-in penalty, only one false start all year. Um, yeah, he was great for us this year, and now he's going to the Chargers. Chance we hopefully the Eagles rehabbed his career enough to where he can get his confidence back, and he can be the all pro, the pro bowler that many people saw in him when he first got to the league. Um, yeah. So uh, Kai Becton, we'll miss him for sure. Um, I think that our offensive line will still be good. We'll probably upgrade that um in the uh in the draft. Probably upgrade that in the draft. But yeah, I'll miss I'll miss him. I'll miss Kai Becton. But I want him to do well, and I want him to succeed. So I'll be keeping an eye on all of these guys. I want to see all the players with Philadelphia ties thrive. Um, yeah. Let me see. Am I missing anybody else? I feel like I am. Who knows what's going to happen with Dallas Goddard? Um, Everything is pointing to him not coming back. Everything is looks toward Dallas Goddard not coming back. I don't know if he will or not, but if he doesn't, then it was uh it was a fun 7 years. We had Dallas Goddard here too, and I'm just speaking from the perspective of if he doesn't come back. I don't know if he will or not, but if he doesn't, then I enjoyed having him on the team. His crowning moment of this year came in the wild card game against the Packers, where he stiff armed like three or four people and just dragged them all into the end zone. Um, that right there made me, that solidified Dallas Goddard's spot in Philadelphia lore. I don't know if there's a name for that score, but um, ever remember him for that. I heard that the Eagles are trying to trade him, that they're trying to find partners for him. If they don't, then they'll uh, him. You know, they got to do what they got to do. I'll put it that way. Um, so yeah, Dallas Goddard. If he doesn't come back, I uh, I wish you the best, Lucio. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm sure that there's pretty much it. Oh no, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's probably people that I'm missing. Yeah, I'll talk about them another time. Um, but Britton Covey, what's he doing? I haven't heard anything about him. What's happening with him? Let me see. Oh no, he's still on the team. All right, cool. Well, actually, no, he's not. Um, I I don't see him that he's playing for a team right now. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I don't see. It's saying here that he's still on the Eagles, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I've heard that they've been looking for replacements for him too. But we'll see. If he doesn't, then I'll miss him too. I'm sure that there's other players I'm missing. No, other players whose names aren't as well known for the Eagles, but those guys, um, I'll miss. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one player that I want to talk for a few minutes about who retired today, and that was the number 55, Brandon Graham, out of the University of Michigan. I'm I'll miss him. I obviously I wanted him to come back for another year to try and be a part of Eagles history, to try and help us run this thing back. But you know what? He deserves to go out on his terms. And just how everything lined up for the Eagles. Remember, he tore his triceps, but prior to tearing his triceps, he was balling out. That November game against the Rams, he was dominating. He was the best player. If Saquon Barkley was the best player on offense, then Brandon Graham he was the best player on defense. He was taking the game over, and he tore his tricep, man, and that was a hurt piece. But the only way that he could come back and play was in the Super Bowl. And the more games we won, the more the whispers got louder and louder and louder about him potentially coming back to play in the Super Bowl. And then lo and behold, what do you know? Brandon Graham is the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and Brandon Graham is lining up to play in the Super Bowl. And then we win it, and you know, just how everything played itself out. Obviously, fan in me wants Brandon Graham to keep playing, but I totally understand, and I'm not mad at his decision at all. In fact, now thinking about it, I agree with him. I think it was the right decision. Brandon Graham has been one of the best players, not just the best players, but one of the faces of the Eagles for the past 15 years, ever since he got drafted in 2010. Man, it's it's crazy to think that 2010 was 15 years ago. That's absolutely insane. I remember what I was doing in 2010. I remember what I was going on. Like you give me a day, I can probably talk about what exactly I was doing. I know where I was working at. I know what was going on in the world. I know, man. But getting back to the point, um, I'll miss Brandon Graham. He gets to go out as a champion, as one of the best players in Eagles organization, as one of the faces of Philadelphia sports. You know, we Philadelphia sports. We've got quite a few people that we identify with, but Brandon Graham, especially for how his career started out rocky. I have forgotten that we were that Eagles fans were clamoring for Earl Thomas in that same 2010 draft where we got Brandon Graham. In fact, I think I might have been one of those people that wanted Earl Thomas because we needed a safety. We had just lost Brian Dawkins, and we needed a safety in the worst way. And I wanted Earl Thomas. I wanted between Earl Thomas and Eric Berry. I think I wanted us to get one of those two safeties. They ended up being taken by Kansas City and Seattle, and we took Brandon Graham. And I was like, who is that? I mean, went to Michigan. Yeah, I was a Michigan fan, obviously, but I was like, yo, who is that? I wanted the safety. I wanted, we just lost B Doc. Like, what are we doing here? And as his career went on, he became more and more one of us. He became more and more ingrained into Eagles fans' hearts. And crazy to think that 15 years has gone by just like that. Now he's one of the most beloved Eagles players ever. Maybe even one of the most beloved Philadelphia athletes ever. He's definitely one of the most beloved Eagles players, especially for what he's contributed. Still has the greatest sack I think in Philadelphia Eagles history, which essentially wrapped up our first Super Bowl when he sacked Tom Brady. The only sack in that game, by the way, I might add, where he sacked Tom Brady and essentially wrapped up the game with that one play, and just his emotion, his you know his energy that he brings, his trash talk, you know, his playful playful his playful demeanor, his little jokester attitude that he has about him. But I mean, listen, most sacks ever in Eagles history, 76, 77, something like that. Um, he's played his entire career here. One of the core four of players that we have between him, Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox, and Jason Kelsey. That core four that we have. Um, you know, it's been great. It's been a pleasure to watch him play. He's definitely he probably won't get into the Hall of Fame, but he'll definitely go into the Eagles Hall of Fame in the next few years. He's 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 deserving of that. And honestly, I think that they should entertain retiring his number. You know, we retired several numbers over the years here. If they can retire Donovan McNabb's number, and that's not a knock against Donovan. I'm not I'm not trying to put down Donovan's career, but Donovan McNabb played 11 years here, and We know it's about the things, some of the things he did, but it's also some of the things that he didn't do, and he has his number retired. I think Brandon Graham should be a shoe-in to have his number retired. That's just me. I think that um, Brandon Graham deserves that kind of respect. I can definitely see us having a Brandon Graham night where they retire his jersey at like at a halftime game or something like that. Yeah, he's one of the best Eagles of all time. Congratulations to him on a career well done, and you know represents a changing of the guard, represents a passing of the torch. Um, he's in this whole segment out of all the guys that I listed, he's the one that will miss the most. The Eagles fans will miss the most, but he'll be a part of us forever. So, um, yeah, the NFL offseason is underway. It's here, man. It's here. Like I said at the outset, we the players have probably moved on. There's been some fans that have moved on. Eventually, I will move on, but at the same time, I won't. I'm gonna still be talking about this team, this Super Bowl run that went on this past year for a long time. Um, but in present, at present, um, free agency is underway. We've also made some additional moves in free agencies. Not everything has been um, has been a loss. We've added some people too, and I'll talk about them on another segment. Some of the additions that we made, and I think that some of them are solid. I think that some of them are 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 noteworthy for the Eagles. But I'll get into that at another time. Um, yeah, a lot of change going on. 2025 Eagles are going to look very different. It's going to be a lot of new faces. Um, but like they say, sometimes change is good. Change can be beneficial. Change doesn't have to be painful if you just embrace it and roll with it. And that's what I think the Eagles are going to do. So next time we'll talk more about the additions that we made, and then as we get closer to the draft, um, I'll go into some of the players that I think will be really good fits for the Eagles. Right now, we pick at 32, which is the very end of the first round, but the draft, that's where we get a lot of that's where we get a lot of players, and I'll talk even more about the genius of Howie Roseman too, because we all know that the off season is really Howie's season. He's got some tricks up his sleeve, and I think he's going to I think it's going to be beneficial for us in the long run. So yeah, off season's here, and it's all about retooling the Eagles up for another championship run.